All the excuses, Klee. All the excuses.
All the excuses in the world?
Let's talk about those excuses.
I was just going to try to think of an excuse, but I don't have one actually, so let's just do this.
Let's do this.
Rafi's tips for artists because he loves you.
Hola, you amazing artists. On Monday, we posted a podcast about, what was it about?
The stigmas and dogmas of being a creative.
Yeah, stigmas and dogmas, particularly 3 of them, which were...
I'm too old, I don't have formal training, and my digital art isn't legit.
The way that I see those is that those are excuses that we use for ourselves or excuses that other people pawn off on us. And so it got me thinking about some of the excuses that I've heard from some of you guys. Now, for the most part, most of you, I would say primarily all of you, are just these rabble-rousing artists who are paving their own way and taking no prisoners and moving forward in whichever way you possibly can. But every once in a while, I get some comments on here, so I'm going to lay those excuses out for you, just in case maybe you're one of those people that makes those excuses. Because I know back in the day, I made a lot of excuses, and they didn't seem like they were excuses, but they actually were.
Yeah, I'm guilty of making some of these excuses too.
Yeah. I think we all are as creatives, because you get brought up in an environment where people make a lot of excuses to not do the things that they want to do. Klee's going to read out some of the excuses that we've gotten in the comments. Let's start with excuse number 1.
My town doesn't have any art things going on.
My town doesn't have... Yeah, we've gotten that comment several times where somebody talks about the fact that, they would do more with the art, except that their town doesn't really have a lot of art things going on. And I think that they're under the impression that Pensacola had a lot of art things going on 10 years ago when we started. When we first started in this town, there was nothing going on. Literally, yeah, if you walked downtown almost felt like a ghost town. There was barely anything going on. Now, in the last 10 years, there have been a lot of renovations and a lot of remodeling, but that is not the reason why we have an art career. The reason we have an art career is because we ventured outside of Pensacola, and within Pensacola, we got started with what was available, and what was available to us was the flea market.
Or La Flea Market, as your dad calls it.
La Flea Market. So my advice to anybody that's making that excuse is broaden your horizons and look for opportunities. And if you don't find opportunities, create some.
Yeah, absolutely. Create your own events, you rabble-rousers.
Rabble-rousers. Be the rabble-rouser artist that you are. Don't give in to your excuse of, there isn't anything going on around here. And by the way, you guys, this video might be a little tough love because I personally made so many excuses throughout my life to not do what it was that I wanted to do. And I blame circumstances and I blame situations. And honestly, it just kept me paralyzed where I was. I wasn't growing. I wasn't pursuing anything that I loved. I wasn't trying to do the things that I really wanted to do. And I got to a place where I actually believed in those limitations. And because of those, I had brilliant reasons why I wasn't doing what it was that I wanted to do. The worst thing that I could have done was give in to those excuses and live with any kind of regret. So this is why I'm laying these out. I'm not laying these out because I'm saying, oh, you're failing as an artist or whatever. I'm just laying these out so that you could second guess some of the excuses that you might be giving yourself.
We won't stand for your excuses.
Yeah, we won't.
Get in the way of your greatness.
We won't stand.
Excuse number 2. I just don't feel creative.
Listen, we all have creative block. We all end up getting to a place where maybe our mind is taken over by something else and we just don't feel creative. Is that a good enough excuse? Or do you have a way to find your creativity, to inspire yourself? Are there things that you do in order to inspire yourself to move forward and to create? Or do you just give in to the fact that you don't feel creative? It's like, I don't feel creative, so I'm just not going to create anything.
The best thing I ever heard for I don't feel creative is just make something.
Exactly.
Anything.
Just make a big pile of crap. If you think, for example, that I am feeling creative 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you got another thing coming. There are plenty of times where I'm just sitting there like, I don't even know what to do. And whenever that strikes, I realize that I need to get started on something or do something or just doodle or whatever it is, go for a walk, Do something to see if you could get out of whatever mindset you're in and get into a much more creative place.
Excuse number 3. I started too late and I'm too old.
Too old. So I've heard that excuse from people, and the fact is that I got started in my late 30s, which honestly is not even that old compared to some of the amazing artists that have contacted us started in their 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s. So if you think that you're too old to get started in painting and being a creative and living a creative career, then you've got another thing coming.
If you're still breathing, you're not too old.
Exactly. If you're still breathing, then you're not too old.
Excuse number 4. I don't have enough time.
Okay, so I understand that, especially if you have a full-time job and you want to do your art career. But honestly, it is an excuse that will keep you stagnant. Are you using up every single moment of every single day doing the things that you're doing? Do you go to work, and what do you do after work? What do you do before work? There are plenty of very, very famous people that got into their creative craft because they woke up 2 hours before work and they worked on things, or they had a schedule. You do need to set yourself a schedule. Give yourself at least an hour a day or 2 hours a day to do the creative thing. You don't have to jump in with both feet. You don't have to quit your job to be a creative. All you have to do is make it a priority. If you don't prioritize it, then it's just going to get put off on the back burner all the time.
Kids are a super good example of this. If you tell a kid, we've got 10 minutes before we're leaving, that kid will use every last second of that 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. I remember being at my cousin's house when I was a kid, and my parents would do the Cuban goodbye, and then I knew that we had at least half an hour to an hour before we were actually leaving. So that half hour to an hour was spent just putting as much playtime in there as possible.
Excuse number 5. My art is not good enough. It's not as good as other artists.
Ooh. Okay, so first of all, you shouldn't be comparing yourself to other artists, because your art is as good as you could create it in this point in time right now. A lot of artists use this as an excuse, and you have to realize the reason that I paint at the level that I paint is because I've spent years refining my craft. There are artists out there that have been painting for way longer than I have and are quite amazing. So you can't compare yourself to someone else because you have no idea what their walk of life was. You have no idea how long they've been drawing or sketching. Even if somebody is way younger, don't worry about what other people are doing. Just worry about advancing yourself and getting better and better at your craft.
Yeah, there's always going to be other artists that have spent more time and are at a higher level than you might be, but for where you're at right now, just concern yourself with whether you're proud of the work you did.
Be concerned with whether or not you're proud of the work you did, not whether or not it's better than someone else's or someone else's is worse. That is a double-edged blade. If you compare your art to other artists and you're like, well, their artwork sucks, the moment that you find somebody whose artwork is much better than yours, then you're going to get really discouraged. And there's no point to that. Not at all.
Excuse number 7. I don't have any followers.
This is one of the excuses that I've gotten on there that I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you think that when I first started on any of the social media or on YouTube that I had a bunch of followers? We spent years. We left the country. We started our YouTube channel back in like 2009. Granted, I wasn't really sure what we were going to do with it, so it wasn't until 3 years ago that we really started posting these videos. But we had like no followers whatsoever.
None.
For the longest time.
Even our friends and family didn't care.
Yeah. You got to get started somewhere. And usually when you get started, you've got nothing. And the people that succeed are the ones that stay persistent despite what it is that they see. That's why I say post because you want to post something, not because you're trying to get followers.
Excuse number 8. It's a waste of time. In other words, you think you're going to make money with your stupid little drawings and your stupid little pictures?
That is a waste of time. The saying that it is a waste of time, you might as well just say, I give up. Because if you are saying it is a waste of time, then you are totally discouraging yourself and not seeing the value of what it is that you create. Value is what gets you going through the hard times. What is the reason why I do this? That's what keeps me going. not whether or not the pieces in of themselves have intrinsic value.
Yeah, this is a big one. Work through your existential crisis, son.
Yep.
There's meaning in what you do.
There is meaning in what you do, but you need to determine what that meaning is.
Excuse number 8. I didn't go to art school.
Ugh, I didn't go to art school. I've heard a lot of you guys use that excuse. I didn't go to art school. End of story.
Excuse number 9. I can't come up with new ideas.
That's okay. We all get stuck. And like I said before, do something else. Find something to get started on. It doesn't matter what it is. Decide to work on the worst piece of crap in the world. That's the way to get started. That was a trick that I learned from a writing class that I took, where they said, if you decide that you're going to write the perfect novel right from the get-go, you are going to be stuck before you even get started. And if you decide, hey, I'm just going to write a first draft and it's going to be horrible and there's going to be all kinds of grammatical errors and all kinds of things, you will actually be more prone to getting started and find your rhythm as you go.
Sometimes I'm like, I have no idea, and then I'll make one thing and then the ideas are like...
Yeah.
Excuse number 10. There are no art classes available to me. YouTube, homies.
YouTube. Biggest thing that an art class does for you is it forces you to create. So just get started creating. Either you YouTube something or you just go out, sit in a park and start sketching people and see how you do, and just do it and do it and do it until you get better.
Excuse number 11. I don't like rejection.
We don't like, nobody likes rejection. Mm-mm. But is it enough to keep you from pursuing something that you want to pursue? Are you going to allow somebody else's rejection of you to keep you from living your life and being who you are? Because ultimately, that's what's going on. It's not them rejecting you that is stopping you from doing something. It is you stopping yourself because you're afraid that somebody's going to say something about your work. So what? People are going to say all kinds of things. People are going to say that it's amazing. People are going to say, meh, it's all right. And some people are going to say that is a piece of crap. You got to be okay with that. You just got to understand that it's their opinion and really it doesn't matter. Then you're more apt to hear constructive criticism versus get all tied up in knots over somebody's stupid comment that really doesn't mean anything when it comes to you. It has everything to do with them.
Haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate.
And makers gonna make.
Oh, that's so good.
Excuse number 12. At least I think this is 12. I don't know. I don't have any money to get started.
I had some old paints. I had no canvas. I had pieces of wood that I found on my uncle's property and on the side of the road. I had some poster boards that somebody at the flea market donated to me. So there are about 20 paintings out there that were done on poster board and cheap old paint that are some of the original pieces that I've sold that people still have up on their wall framed. And that to me is so much cooler as an origin story and origin pieces than had I had the big budget to get started with my art career.
Excuse number 13. I can't afford art materials.
Get some cheap art materials, buy them on sale, whatever it is that you could get. You don't have to get the super expensive stuff. Just get what you can with what you have and get started with where you are. Maybe you can't buy a printing press, but hey, get started with where you are right now and figure out a way to be able to do it.
You guys want to hear a cute aside story? When Rafi and I were at the flea market and we were making like $5 here and there, he would save up his money that he made, and sometimes he would show up with a small gift of pliers or something that I needed for me. He was like, here, I made some money, so I got you these pliers over there from the shop over there. Neither one of us had anything.
No.
I still have the pliers that you brought me.
So that's it for the excuses.
Enough excuses!
Enough excuses already. No more excuses. You guys got this. I believe in you. By the way, you guys, I am officially launching The Rogue Artist book this week. Just wanted to let you know that I'm launching the crowdfunding campaign. and I will put a link in the description on where you can find the information for that.
I personally am very excited about your book.
I'm excited and terrified. And also, you guys, this week we are heading out of town. I'm going to be wearing a monkey suit, which I am very, very excited about, to go to my brother's wedding up north. So we will be out of town, but we will be back next week. And if you guys have any excuses that you'd like to share with us, leave them in the comment section below. We would love to hear some of the excuses that maybe we didn't cover in this video. And thank you so much for watching, you guys. You guys are absolutely freaking amazing. I totally adore you. And if you like this and you want to watch more like this, just click right over here to subscribe. And that's it. Say goodbye, Klee.
Good day.
Adios.